If you are a mid-handicap golfer looking to shoot in the 80s more consistently, this video has the gear that you should be using. In this video, I'm going to be giving you some key tips, gear tips as to how you can play a little bit more consistent golf and hopefully save you shots. I'm going to play a few holes, I'm going to go through the bag, we'll talk about driver, woods, irons, putters, wedges and even the golf ball, hopefully helping you to play better golf. You might have seen at the back end of last year, Georgina did a similar video to this where she was talking about high handicap gear for people that are kind of shooting between 90 and 100 on a regular basis. Now, in this video, the premise isn't going to change too much because one thing I want to make clear is even though we're talking about shooting in the 80s, forgiveness is still your friend. There's so many modern clubs out there that are all about forgiveness and you should use them. So when we look at the driver, Gina was referring to a lot of modern 10K drivers, all about 10,000 MOI, which is huge, it's the most forgiveness you can get. Now, most manufacturers do 3 or maybe 4 drivers, and there's always what we call like a max driver in the range. So in the bag today, I've got the new tailor-made QI35 Max. Now this driver is all about forgiveness. Huge footprint down by the ball, it's all the weight back in the head as well. It's packed full of technology, all about launch. Loft will always be your friend. Launching it higher gives you more chance of hitting it further. And just look at this face. Look at the size of that sweet spot there on that face. So drivers like this, in that max category, that is going to help you play more consistent golf off the tee. Another thing to consider if you're at that lower end and you're kind of wanting to get a bit more precise about your yardages is something like a GPS watch. Now this is the ShotScope X5, you can go check out the review on Golfalot. But something like this will just help you hone in your yardages more and get you used to how far you're hitting it, especially with the shot tracking this comes with. Then even more precise, so you can look at actually exactly where the flag is maybe looking at a rangefinder or laser. This is the ShotScope Pro LX, especially if you're a golfer maybe trying to break 80 even further and get into single figures. A laser will just give you more precise yardages, so hopefully get your irons closer to the hole. Sticking with the top end of the bag, but not talking about drivers here now, and actually looking at metal woods. Traditionally, I think golfers think pitching wedge to maybe 4 or 3 iron, and then 3 wood. Whereas actually, I want to try and get you to think more about maybe a 5 wood, a 4 wood, or even maybe a 7 wood, and really get the gapping right at the top end of your bag. In recent times, we're now seeing people like Ludwig Åberg put 7 woods in the bag. We saw it recently with his win at the Genesis. So I've got a Ping G440 3 wood here, which would normally be at 15 degrees, but I've got that lofted up to 16 degrees. Also another option here is the Cleveland Halo XL. Now this is a 5 wood at 18 degrees, all about launch, giving you a better chance of launching it much easier and playing more consistent golf. So specifically, if we look at a hole like this, we're at the second at Stockport Golf Club. Now this is a short par 4, it's just over 300 yards long, it's about 320 yards long. And if you look up the hole there, you can see how narrow it gets. There's plenty of bunkers up by the green. You'd normally think, oh, I'm just going to whack a driver up there. Or 3 wood. Now if you're somebody who struggles with your 3 wood, like most 15, 16 handicappers would, think maybe about a 5 wood or a 4 wood. I think one thing that's important to say as well is straight away with that extra loft, again if you're someone who struggles with a 3 wood, just that extra loft behind the ball, you just see more face. See, I've not hit that well at all. I've kind of hit it bottom groovy, but that extra loft, that extra forgiveness in this max head, I'm still 220 up there, 215 maybe up there, up the right hand side. I've probably hit the fairway and I've got a shot into the green. With a 3 wood, probably not happen. I'm probably catching sort of the rough here. So more loft in your woods can be a massive help. Sticking with woods, I just want to touch on hybrids. I mentioned earlier that sometimes we think of iron sets as kind of pitching wedge through to 4-iron or maybe even 3-iron. Kind of forget that idea. Hybrids are such great clubs. Keep them in your woods. Think about maybe having one or maybe even two hybrids. You see so many players now using hybrids here. I've got the new Callaway Elite 3 hybrid here. You could even think about a 4 hybrid or a 5 hybrid. Again, all about forgiveness, all about launch, and especially if you're in the rough, they're so much easier to hit and strike well and hit further than a 4 or 5 iron, even if it's a cavity back iron. Think about using more hybrids. Now I want to talk to you about golf ball and the choice of golf ball that you use. Now I've got here the latest Titleist Pro V1. Obviously the benchmark for golf ball. It's been the #1 ball in golf now for a number of years. It can help pros right up to beginner golfers. But I kind of want to open your eyes to different types of golf ball. I've got here the TaylorMade Tour Response, and I've got it in the stripe, as you can see there. Now, for a number of different reasons, this ball is aimed at people who swing it around 90 miles an hour with the driver. And those people that are doing that are probably not going to see the difference here or the benefits using a Pro V1. So you can save a little bit of money. And then more specifically, the stripe on the ball. This can really help you to line up putts more specifically. So if you're somebody who struggles reading green or lining putts up, this can really help to give you that visual representation. I've lined this putt up and it's just left edge. And then not just lining up, when I hit the putt, gives me a representation visually of how I've struck that putt. You know, if I've cut across it, it's going to move to the right. What you want to see is that line end over end. It can really help improve your putting long term. Coming on to this par 3 16th now at Stockport Golf Club, it gives me a great opportunity to talk about irons. Now, we've already touched a little bit on irons in terms of, I don't think you should be going up to 3 or 4 irons. I think you should still be going up to that 5 iron, and how you can mix that with hybrids. But specifically looking at the actual iron model, in the bag today, I've got the new TaylorMade P790s. You can go check out the review on golfalot.com. Now, the beauty of P790s is, this is the 5th iteration now of P790s, which clearly tells you they're standing the test of time. And the great thing is about P790s and why they've been such a successful model for TaylorMade is the fact that they suit such a wide array of golfers. So I know 4 and 5 handicap, 6 handicap players that play P790s because it looks a little bit like a blade. Okay, it's still a bigger footprint and it's still got a bigger top edge, but it still has got that classic look to it. But then it's also got the forgiveness and the speed and all the tech packed into it that could help somebody of 18 handicap. If you're somebody who's maybe 20 handicap, but he's improving, he's working on the game, and then in 2 years' time you could be down to a 12, 13 handicap, these clubs will still work in your bag. That's why something like a P790 is definitely something I'd advise if you're trying to get to the lower 80s, maybe even break 80. Let's have a go at this stunning par 3 here at Stockport Golf Club and see how I get on. These really do look great down by the ball. As I said, kind of still look like a player's iron, even though there's so much packed into them. Let's try and get one close. Well, sticking with the irons, I think one thing I see a lot as well with golfers around mid-handicap, not better players, is they disregard custom fitting, especially with the irons. So if you take me, I'm 6'5", so if I was to buy irons straight off the shelf, stock iron shafts, they'd be way too short for me, the lie would be wrong, and I might even need the lofts looking at as well because I'll probably launch it quite high. So that's definitely a key tip. Even though you might not think you're good enough, forget that. Always look at custom fitting and it can really help you out, especially with your irons, getting that ball closer to the hole and lowering those scores. I want to talk to you about the bottom end of the bag and specifically wedges. Now, I've got two different types of wedge here. I've got the Ping S159. Now, this is a specialist wedge. It's all about precision. This is the kind of wedge that most golfers are going to use. But I don't think enough golfers take into account a more cavity back wedge and think about adding something like this to the bag. Now, this is a Cleveland CBX4 zip core wedge, okay? And straight away you can see the soles of those. The Cleveland CBX4 is so much wider, okay? I've got this in 54 and that's in a 52, but this is all about more forgiveness. You look at the face, it's just got a bigger footprint. Again, that sole there, there's so much more bounce, and it's gonna help you with pitches like this. So I've probably got 60, 70 yards into this green. This is where golfers around that mid-handicap range maybe fat chips here or thin them through the green and you lose so many shots. And I don't think enough golfers use this type of wedge. Still got all the technology, still got zip core grooves, still get loads of spin, still looks great, but just gives you that bit extra help. So if I was you and you struggle with the short game, although these look amazing, think more about a cavity back wedge. Okay, I've just come to the back of the 17th green here at Stockport, and I want to talk to you about custom fitting a little bit again, and the importance of it, especially with wedges. People think custom fitting, oh, I'm just going to get custom fitted for the driver, or even like I mentioned earlier, irons, but in the wedges, in the scoring part of the game, it can really, really help. There's so many different types of grind and bounce that you can use if you have one or two wedges, even in a cavity back wedge that I talked about earlier. And if we look at the ball again here, this is, I mean, I talked about it with putting. This tour response ball here with this stripe. Now you might think, as I say, that's only for putting when you can manipulate where the line goes. Well, actually, even though this alignment line isn't pointing in the direction I'm aiming, what I can use it for is my strike. And it's almost like a training aid. So as I'm hitting a ball here, I can see the way the ball visually is reacting to the club based on how I deliver it and how I strike it. And just hitting chips and chips and chips like that, I can visually see the way the ball is coming off the face. So again, the ball, not just the type of ball, but using it as an alignment aid in different parts of the game can really, really help you get to know your game more and therefore improve or know where to improve to lower those scores. Finally, moving on to putters, the most important club in the bag, the club that you hit the most shots with. Now, Gina referenced mallet putters, super high MOI putters to really help you essentially turn the club head less through impact, keep it more solid and more stable to hopefully get the ball starting on the right start line. Spider Tour putter here in my hands. Now this putter, everybody knows Spider Tour. It's almost become, the Spider has almost become a brand in itself for TaylorMade. It's so successful. As soon as you put it down on the floor, it's just such a huge footprint. It's got those kind of wings on the back. It's got the huge alignment aid there. If I took a couple of balls down there, it's got this super stroke grip on it as well, all about forgiveness, a little bit wider than your kind of traditional Answer style grip. It just feels like I've got so much help behind the ball to at least get the ball starting on the right line. Again as well there, I love this pure roll insert. I use a Spider putter myself and it's got a beautiful balance between firm and soft, really quite responsive, and this is just the kind of putter that anybody can use. Tour pros, right to beginner golfers. Take that, you know? Just an amazing putter, really helps you that I think a lot of golfers should be considering despite the kind of loud looks. Now I know not everybody likes that kind of large mallet style. Personally, I don't. I prefer something more like an Answer, but I would still suggest looking for forgiveness in the putter, and you can get that. I've got in my hand here the new square to square Odyssey putter. This still is a more classic Answer style. Okay, it's the kind of double wide, so it's not as thin and narrow, There is still that forgiveness in it. It's got heel and toe weighting in there as well. But the whole thing around square to square is about zero torque. You can see our full review on Golfalot, and it's all about, again, less manipulation of the face through impact. Now, if I hit a couple of putts, again, it takes a little bit getting used to, but it's still that answer style shape. So if you're not somebody who likes that mallet, this could really, really help and still give you the forgiveness that you need. Takes a little bit of getting used to the way it sits with that shaft lean. But, as I say, if you're somebody who wants that more classic looking putter, especially in the shape, something like that, you still get the forgiveness from these modern day putters and the technology packed into them. Okay, so we've talked through the full bag and all the different areas of the bag. Hopefully you found that useful. But to summarize, I want you to take away 3 key tips. Number 1, custom fitting. Even if you're a mid-handicap golfer, you are good enough to get custom fitted. And as I've said, it will benefit your game. No stock golf club is fit and perfect for every golfer. It can't be, can it? So get custom fitted, whether that's your putter, your ball, your wedges, your irons, woods, or your driver, get custom fitted. The second key thing I want you to take away from this is forgiveness and loft. Loft helps you get the ball up in the air quicker, and the more you do that, the more you're going to shoot better scores. Forgiveness, there's so much forgiveness packed into clubs like this now. There's so much choice, there's so much forgiveness. Even in better player clubs, there is forgiveness out there. So look for those max model drivers. Loft up your woods, look for more cavity, technology packed irons, and even think about those forgiving wedges with those wide sole. I'm telling you, it will really, really help you around the greens. And the final tip I want to say is lean into technology. I know sometimes it might be a bit over-facing. You see all the ads on TV, tech, but it does help. I'm telling you, it really does help. It's there for a reason. Take the putters, for example. Zero torque putters can really, really help you move in the face. It can be the fine margins that help you hold more putts. If you look at the ball, for example, that alignment aid can really help you in a number of different ways to see how you're striking the ball and also to line it up on the greens. And then, as I touched on earlier, either a rangefinder or a watch to just be a bit more precise with your game. Use technology. I promise you, it will help with your golf equipment. Okay, thank you so much for watching. I really hope that advice helps you make better buying decisions with your golf equipment this year. As always, subscribe for more.